So here is our number one problem about geometric mean. It says that the geometric mean of two numbers is 4. The larger number is 4 times the smaller. Okay? Find the two numbers. So what we're going to do is to represent first our numbers with a variable. Okay? When I say variable, we can let x, okay? And we can let a, b, or c, or y. Okay? So we have two numbers which are the larger number and the smaller number. Okay? So between the two, we do not have any information about the smaller number. Okay? But the larger number, we have information about that. It says that the larger number is 4 times the smaller. Okay? But what is that smaller? Okay? So that is, what we're going to do is let this be represented by a letter or a variable. So we say that our smaller is x. Okay? So x is the smaller number. How about our larger number? How can we represent that with a variable? But it says here the larger number is 4 times the smaller. Okay? The larger number is 4 times the smaller. What is the smaller? That's x. Okay? That's x. Okay? So it's like saying that the larger number is 4 times the x. 4 times the x. Therefore, our larger number is 4x. 4 times the x. 4x is the larger number. Okay? And if we are going to get the geometric mean of x and 4x, which is our two numbers, we have a geometric mean of our GM. Our geometric mean is 4. Okay? Which is here. Okay? So remember, if we have two numbers, we get the square root. Multiply, then we get the square root. Okay? Multiply these two numbers, then take the square root, equals to the geometric mean. Okay? So we will form our equation. Our equation says that if we're going to multiply x and 4x and take the geometric mean of that, this is square root, or you can put 2 there. Square root of that geometric mean, because you have also two numbers, so square root lang. Okay? Square root of that. The result is the geometric mean. What's the geometric mean? 4. Okay? So we have that. So let's continue. So we have already our equation. So our equation says that multiply the two numbers, take the square root of that, the result is the geometric mean, 4. Okay, so we'll continue. We have 4x squared equals 4. The next thing to do is get rid of the square root sign, this one, the radical. So since this is square root, we will square both sides. Okay, so we'll square both sides. So we will square both sides, square this, so that the square and the square root sign will be cancelled. Of course, if we square here on the left side, we also square on the right side. That's the principle of equation. Whatever you do on the left, you must do on the right. So if we're going to do that, it's like the square and the square root will be cancelled. You are left with 4x squared equals 16. Okay. Then divide by 4. You'll get x squared equals 4. Now, since our first concern is x as our smaller number, we'll take the square root of this. To remove square, square root. To remove square root, square. That's the idea there. To remove the square root sign, square both sides. Okay? To remove the square sign, the exponent square, take the square root on both sides. So we'll have this one. Square root of that and square root of that. Therefore, square root of that cancelled. Square root and the radical will be cancelled. You are left with x. Square root of 4 is 2. So, what is our x? X is our smaller number. Okay? So, let's go back here. Okay? What is our x? Our x is 2. Oh, and that's the smaller number. That is the smaller number. Okay, that is the smaller number. And since x is 2, we can say that the larger number is 4 times 2, which is 8. Oh, therefore, our two numbers, because we're looking for the two numbers, 2 and 8. Okay, so we can just write it here down. Therefore, the two numbers, which is of course are positive, are 2 and 8. Okay, so next problem. So we have here a second problem. It says that the geometric mean of two numbers is 2 square root of 5. Okay, 2 square root of 5. So our given is that our geometric mean is 2 square root of 5. Okay, and we have two numbers. Those are the larger number and the smaller number. Okay, it says that the larger number is 1 more. It's not 1 times. It's 1 more than the smaller. Okay, so if 4, 1 more, that's 5. Okay, if 9, 1 more, that's 10. Okay, so since we do not have information about x, we do not know anything about the smaller number, we will let this as x. The same with our previous problem a while ago. We do not have any information about our smaller number here. That's why we let it as our x as the smaller number. So the same here, we will let x our smaller number. Okay, so x is the smaller. Okay, now we have, what is our larger number? Okay, so because we can represent this with x, this is already x, the smaller number. The larger number is 1 more than the smaller. What's the smaller? X. Okay, so larger number is like stating larger number is 1 more than x. Oh, 1 more than x means, the word more means you just simply add 1 more than x, meaning we have 1 more than x. 1 more than x. This is our second number, the larger number. Okay, so the same with our example in number 1. We multiply them, take the square root, multiply them, take the square root, because there are just two numbers involved, and that is equal to their geometric mean. So we have here, multiply this one. Since this is binomial, we're going to enclose that with parentheses. Multiply, then take the square root, and that is equal to our geometric mean, which is this one, 2 square root of 5. Okay, so what shall we do? Remove next the radical sign. How do we remove the radical sign? Square. Okay, since this is square root, square it to remove the radical sign. So we have here x plus 1. Just gonna write it again here. Then let's take the square root of that here. So what is left on the left side is x times x plus 1 equals, if you're going to input in your calculator, that will tell you that that is 20. Okay, that is 20. Okay, what is the logic? Why 20? Is that because we say the principle in the exponent is, let's say that if a, b, I'm just gonna generalize the exponent. If a times b raised to n, that is equals to a raised to n times b raised to n. So the same principle here, we get 2 square times square root of 5. I'm just gonna write that as square root of 5 and square. Okay, so in turn we'll have 2 square is 4 times, remember, square root raised to square here, square root raised to square, it's like square root raised to square. The square root sign will be cancelled with the exponent, so that will become 5. And that is obviously 20. That's why this becomes 20 here. So let's make an equation. X square plus x squared plus multiply x and 1, you'll have x equals 20. Now, this is quadratic. So, in quadratic, you always have to, if the exponent is square, you'll have to express it as like that. Should be the right side should always be 0. So, let's subtract negative, positive 20, then positive 20. Then you'll have, on the right side, 0, x squared plus x minus 20. Okay? So, what do we have here is that, let's get to factor this. X squared means x times x. Factors of negative 20, that when you add them results to positive 1 here in the middle. Factors of negative 20 that results to positive 1, that is plus 5 minus 4. So as you can see, look at this. Negative 5 times 4 is negative 20. It means this negative 5 and 4, oh sorry, I'll just gonna write that in a right manner. 5 times negative 4, that is 20. 5 and negative 4 are factors of negative 20. Okay? If we're going to add them, plus negative 4, you'll get positive 1, which is entirely here. Okay? So, when you add those two factors, and it results to the middle term, therefore your factors are correct. If the value of your a here is 1. But if not, it's gonna be another factorization technique. So, this becomes, since this is positive 5, to make it 0, this becomes x is negative 5. Or, to make it 0 here, x must be 4. So 4. Therefore, these are our values of x. We will only consider positive. We'll neglect negative. Because we're talking about geometric mean. Okay. So we have n4. So therefore, this is 1 is okay. So therefore, our first number in our first number is, this one is 4. 4 plus 1 is definitely 5. Therefore, the two numbers are 4 and 5. Okay? So, you always write your conclusion for when you answer something. You always write your conclusion for formality. We have, therefore, the numbers are 4 and 5. Okay? So, we have here another. Okay? We have here another one. Now, where is that? Here. Number 3. The geometric mean of two numbers is 6. Okay? So, take note of that. Let's take note of that. The GM is just 6. The smaller number is 1/4 of the larger number. So we have two numbers again. The smaller number and the larger number. By this time, we do not have information about the larger number. Look at this. Do we have information about the larger number? No. But we do have information about smaller number, which is 1/4 of that larger number. So we will let our larger number as, that is our x. So x is the larger. Okay. If this is x, it's like saying 1/4 of x. So smaller number is 1/4 of x because the larger number is already x. So we can say that our smaller number is 1/4 of x. Okay. So we will set up our equation. How do we do? We multiply this, take the square root equals to the geometric mean. Okay. The same a while ago here. Multiply the two numbers, the x and x plus 1, take the square root of that, equals to the geometric mean. So here we have, multiply the two numbers, take the square root of that, equals to the geometric mean. Okay. After that, how do you do that? Take the square root. So remove, okay, then this will be cancelled. You are left with what is x times 1/4 x? That becomes 1/4 x times x is x squared equals, this one is actually 6 squared is 36. Okay. How do we eliminate 4 in the denominator? What we're going to do is multiply that by 4 so that when we cancel this one, this will be cancelled. This will be cancelled. Okay, so you are left with x squared or 1x squared. Remember, x squared and 1x squared are just the same. Okay, then since we multiply by 4, we will also multiply it by 4 here. Therefore, our resulting equation is that becomes x squared, no more the 1. We can also write 1 if you like. 36 times 4 is, there are 272s. Okay, it's like saying 272s. 144. Okay, 144. And the square root, positive square root of 144 is, take the square root of that. Take the square root of that. You have x here. Square root of 144 is 12. Oh, got it. Okay. Our first number, which is the larger, look at this here. Our first number is, our larger number is 12. Since this is larger, we expect that the second number is smaller. Okay, smaller than 12. So we know that 1/4 of what is x again? That's 12. What is 1/4 of 12? 3. Look at that. Therefore, our numbers are 12 and 3. Therefore, the numbers are 12 and 3. That's all for geometric mean problem.